Every animal that comes here needs three things: food, shelter, but most of all, love. They come here very young. They lose their parents through traps or hunters.
Say hello, Lucky. I call her Lucky because she's really lucky to be alive.
We found her in a gin trap and we did everything we could to save her leg, but we had to amputate.
Look, you come up.
I was just really proud when Lucky started walking again. She's like my little kid. I've been doing this for 15 years and still every day is magic. You know, just because she can't run doesn't mean she's not a cheetah.
For the last decade, MasterCard has been celebrating the priceless things that surround us. But with the advent of the iPhone, we saw an opportunity for consumers to share their priceless things, places, and experiences with each other. So we built this, the Priceless Pics application for the iPhone and iPod Touch. It's location aware, so the second you turn it on, you're literally surrounded by priceless things and great deals. But more importantly, you can submit your own right from the phone for all the world to see.
Pampero Rum, a drink connected to the underground scene, was launched in Lisbon through Pampero Fundación, a foundation that supports all kinds of alternative artists, making music, paintings, sculptures, and other forms of art. In the heart of Lisbon, we find Bairro Alto, a cult location full of bars, design stores, and street art. We heard that they were going to clean every wall in Bairro Alto without separating what is vandalism from true pieces of art. That's where we saw an opportunity. Let's put a magnifying lens over the work on the streets, so that you can appreciate them before they disappear. We created the first Museo Efemero in the world. We spoke to the artist to catalogue the artwork. Then we made a map with all the selected pieces and placed tags on them, each one with a corresponding number that matched the audio guide. The texts were recorded in Portuguese, English and German, just like in an ordinary museum. We uploaded everything into museoefemero.com so that everyone could download the audio guide for free, go out with their map and MP3 player, and walk the museum streets. Bairro Alto became small for the museum, and new galleries opened in other quarters such as São Bento and Amoreiras, where the city's Graffiti Hall of Fame is located. In no time, the Museo Efemero was a topic in magazines, newspapers, blogs and online magazines, generating enormous visibility for the brand, huge considering that the annual budget was only 30,000. In a few months, Pampero matched the awareness level of its bigger competitor that has been in the market for 15 years. The best part is that until now, the Museo Efemero has had way more visitors than any museum in the area and has become well known among artists, street art fans and people in general. It has become a tourist must in Lisbon, appearing in several tourism sites and tourist guides. The Museo Efemero began in Lisbon. It will spread to different cities and should become the biggest museum in the world, because the streets have no borders.
Plain Insanity by Virgin Atlantic. I'd seen him at supermarket the week before. He'd been walking a blue iguana past the cleaning products, with sunglasses on. Today it was a ferret. I made my mind up to speak to him and approached with caution, having seen a documentary on ferrets the night before. "Is it acceptable to put salt on your cornflakes?" I asked the pale man. He removed his sunglasses and winked at me with his good eye. "I thought so," I said. The ferret looked me up and down, and I could tell he was drunk. The pale man then spoke slowly in a northern Spangalese accent. "I recently returned from London," he said. "I flew first class for a business class fare," he said. "Virgin Atlantic upper class," he said. He was plainly insane, so I smiled and gave the ferret my business card. Plain Insanity by Virgin Atlantic. I don't often eat caviar for breakfast, perhaps as rarely as twice a week. But it was only Wednesday, or Doris Day. The lady in the tutu interrupted me mid-bite. She was licking a breakfast dog. "I was born to dance," she sang as ketchup dribbled down her chin. Her wooden leg betrayed her. I quickly changed the subject to geography. "What's the lay of the land?" I asked. She tapped her wooden leg with the heel of her red stiletto 3 times. Her balance was uncanny. "I landed this evening," she said. "First-class amenities for a business-class fare," she said. "Virgin Atlantic upper class," she screamed, as if she'd won at bingo. It was plain insanity, so I stared at her leg. Teak, or maybe mahogany. Plain Insanity by Virgin Atlantic. A dog followed me home from the supermarket 8 3/4 days ago. Not a big dog, but not a small one either. I let it in and made a pot of tea. It didn't care for the tea, but it ate all the digestives. I drew a picture of the dog in purple crayon and placed it at the supermarket. We watched the news every night, and I became quite fond of him. I called him Derek, after a bully in my school. Yesterday, there was a knock at the door. "I'm here," the woman said. "But where have you been?" I asked. "I'm sorry, I'm married," she said. "My husband's in London," she said. "He flew first class for a business class fare. Virgin Atlantic upper class," she whispered. She was plainly insane, so I gave her the dog.